because I told a couple of people that I would put it out on YouTube so they could see it. So this should not take very long. Thank you guys for coming. I think Rick is trying to get in here. We'll see if he pops in here later or not to do that. I just wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the process. We are returning to the cemetery for walks. I mean, in a nice way, I'm going to tell you, this kind of all started in October of last year with the thing for John Fuss. And we're now like moving on to the next realm of doing these. I filed for a permit on the January 6th, I think. I filed for that permit, and it was okay. It was okay. And then the park wanted to do a memorandum of understanding, and then that, it all fell apart. And then this was going on and that was going on. There's some other technical things I'm not even sure that I know are going on. Long story short, I decided I would apply for the SUP under my name, under Freedom of Speech Act. And we have that now. We can do that. But with that now becomes a little bit different, because I'm being treated, and we're being treated, and I think long-term we're all going to be treated like real people. I don't think guys are going to get a ton of slack in anything that we do. So I just want to go over real quick some of these documents with you here. So what's going to happen tomorrow morning, or probably later on tonight, you'll get an email from me, and that email will consist of this cover letter here. So we got the special use permit. The walks have been approved. A condition of this permit requires that each guide have an electronic or printed copy of all 7 sheets of the PDF document attached to the email. And I have it. I'll show you what it is. By signing up, you acknowledge you've read and agree to both the contents of the documents and the attached files. So there's 2 documents when you get an SUP. There's the approved document signed by Steve Sims with all the words in it, but they also are making everyone this year have a copy of his memo that we got on February 16th. It has that stuff in there to do. So I don't think there's anything new for us. But anyhow,
Fran, does that mean you have to have it or with you on a walk?
So Pam said you can print it if you're more comfortable, but as long as you have the capability to get it electronically, that's fine too. I think as they go to control some of the stuff that happened over 4th of July, I think one of the things they're going to say is who's in charge and where's the permit? Oh, you don't have either. They're going to eject you, I think. But you'll have to have it with you. We'll go over it here in a second. Now, for those of you that sign up for the office, all you're going to do is, and I'm going to come back and do this, you're going to click the blue link, and it's going to take you to a spreadsheet, and then you can start signing up. And we'll do that here in a second. Once you take a day,
similar to the office, right, Fran?
It's exactly like the office. That's
Yeah.
why I got to cross wires with Deb so that we don't hit it in the same day.
Well, Deb put together that one for the office. She did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Now the only other thing that
leveraging the technology.
The other thing that we really have to do at a certain point, when I see it's filled, they asked me and they said, we understand that they want a list of who's doing what and when. So I'm going to pick a date and say, I'm now going to submit the list to the front desk. And that at that point, if you decide I can't do it, we're going to ask you to take care of that yourself. But if not, there's people around. I have 3 e-bugs, emergency backup guides. So if any of you want to do it, these are the 3 here, and this is who's in there. These are the phone numbers they want you to use. 2 reasons to use them. If you're sick and you can't go and do it, and you need to cover, or an emergency comes up. But the other thing is, I told them in my application that if we see the crowd swelling, like when Deb Novotny's out there, I mean, we could get thousands. Then we got to put enough guides in to break them down into smaller groups. So this is just because the special use permit is very hard to read. You're going to get it though. These are just some highlights. The walks begin at 5:30, and they say they must conclude by 6:30. Now, TAPS starts at 7, and she said, I just don't want you to interfere with their setup. Now, unless TAPS has changed dramatically, you're not going to interfere with their setup if you go over a little bit. But she said, we have to do that. We put a half hour between them. You have to meet all the COVID safety requirements that are in place at the time you get there. If they decide you have to wear pink underwear, we got to do it. The biggest bugaboo was number 2. They're done free of cost. No monies are to be solicited. And I didn't even ask about tips. If you get tips, I just don't want to do it. You have to, what we always do is stay away from people who are doing something in the graves. No vehicles are permitted inside. And we're going to establish a system of backup guides, which we're doing right now. Each guide will have reviewed the memo from Steve that's attached before their walk. The LBG cemetery program on Memorial Day must not interfere with the opening of 100 nights of taps, to see what they said, at or around 6 p.m. And the same is expected for their closing. Any LBG, and this was what took me so long to get it. Any LBG wishing to present a cemetery walk outside of the standard walk program outlined below must provide the LBG NPS supervisor a written outline for review 1 week in advance of the walk program. So the original permit said all guides must submit a outline of their walk before they go. And I said, no matter if I'm reading this right, that looks like about 120 emails to you, to me, back and forth. And so what we negotiated out here is, I said, I'm going to make you a standard outline, see if you can do it. I don't see that outline on the bottom is so broad, dear God, and you don't have to do it in any order. It's just like the outline. It's just, they want us to comply with everybody else that we're doing. Now, if you want to do something unusual, Ralph's World War II tour, he'll have to submit that to Matt to do that. But for the most part, I don't think there's going to be any problem with everything that we do there, because I just threw in everything that I could think of. And he said, I love it. I said, me too. So that's what the email looks like. Now, attached to that email, there's going to be a PDF file of the 7 items that you have to have with you. So if you've never seen one of these are the 7 items. This is the National Park special use permit. This is how it's put together. All right. This is all they did and changes in here. There is one change. No programs are going to be permitted on July 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or September 17th, 18th, and 19th. I bantered that around a little bit. I said, you know what, can you just give me one reason? And they said, and all I got back from Matt was, people get confused between guides and rangers, and there's some history here. That's all he told me. So I'm not putting anything more or there, but okay, so we're not going to be in there July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We may, if we do well, I'm going to try to hit it again next year. Everything that I said here is pretty much in place. We're going to start at 5:30. Everything in here I just made bigger so you can read it. No performance bond, so we didn't have to pony up the $100. No liability insurance required, and no location fee. So if you are Fran's most excellent tour company, these fees usually get tossed on you, and they're a little harder to do. So we didn't have any fees, which was nice. And if you come down here, this is the fine print. Oh my God. Good luck reading that. You'll get it. It's all revoked. It's the fees. And the only thing they did down here, they put in these dates. That's it. So a couple other things in there. We're not allowed to put a sign up on the National Park Service property. We all knew that. I sent him that thing you saw at the beginning. I said, can we do that? And he said, well, we don't usually do social media type advertising. And then he called back and he said, it's your permit. You can advertise it any way you want, but you can't like hang a sign on the park. Okay. And I asked him about, are you going to be willing to announce it? And he said, I don't think that'll be a problem. And I'm just not going to ask him. I'm just going to go up every day and say, here, you need to announce this, and kind of walk away from it. So this is the permit. If you've never seen one, this is what everybody who 100 Nights of Taps has one. They have to have it on. And I think the way that it would normally work, if the ranger comes up to you and he sees a program, he can ask for this document. Do you have a permit? The only other thing that they did different for for us, because I told him, I said, look, I could be in State College when these are going on. So somewhere in here, there's something that you are going to be responsible for that tour. It's like you've always been. So you decide if it's cold or rainy, or you don't want to do it, but you're going to be acting as me in place of this program. So that's the permit. This you all have. This is the February 16th document. I'm not going to go over that with you. You know that is changing day by day by day. And you're going to be responsible to wear a mask or maintain 6 feet. So I'm not going to go over that. But that packet will come as a PDF. I'm more comfortable printing it. I'm just going to put it on my phone somewhere. Actually, if you keep the email that I send you with it, the PDF is there. So you'll have it. So you'll get the email, you'll get the sign up, and you'll get the packet. So real quick here, I'm going to take a look and show you what this is going to look like. So make this go right here. So this is how the cemetery walks are going to happen, step by step. This PowerPoint will be available to you. I have it recorded in a movie. You'll get the link tonight with the Zoom presentation. You can watch 1 minute and 7 seconds. Those of us who do the guide office, this is going to look very, very familiar to you. So this is what I think we're going to put out. I also promised Matt 2 things, that I wouldn't start pushing this until May 1st. And I promised him I wouldn't Zoom bomb it like I do Zoom to Gettysburg. But he understands we can't help it if people share it. So this is how it happens. When you get your email, the email I just went over with you will be there, except this isn't going to say 9 sheets. It's going to say 7. You'll get that email. Up here on the very top is that packet that you need to have. Like I said, if you keep the email, you'll have the packet. And then here's the link. It's down here to sign up. So you say, okay, you hit the link, and it's going to bring you to a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet, but it brings you to the top of the spreadsheet. So I tell people that it brings you to the top of the spreadsheet, but if you scroll down, you can see the dates on the bottom. Anything that's blacked out is just, we're not doing them those days, and that's taken out the weekends in May. Once you find a date you want, like if you, oh man, this is annoying. When you find a date you want, so I just picked May 7th. If it's an open date, you can hit it, you click the drop down arrow, and when you do, the drop down box will open, which is here, and there you'll find everybody's name listed. If your name's not there, you need to tell me. You scroll down to your name, and when you get on top of it, your name will shadow. Holy heck, go back here. Your name will shadow, you click your name, and then you're in. You got the date. Now, we have like a gentleman and ladies agreement that you can go in and knock Fran out and put your name in there. I'm not going to follow it that tight. Deb doesn't follow it that tight. We hope you're an adult. But if on the night that you are putting that up, I must have a timer on here. If that night that you're turning it, you put it in the wrong date, you wanted it to be in the 8th, you can go back up to where your name is, bring the drop box back and put open date, and it'll shade over. And then once you do that, open date comes back to the 7th, and you're done. Now, what I said to the group at the beginning when we started this is, get out of here now. When we started this at the beginning, I have to eventually give them a point in the say, here's the list. John used to do it like every day, but they want an upfront list. I also have to give them a list of the e-bugs if there's a problem that they have some people to call. That's why, Jim, I told you I can't give 2 numbers, 1 number. So that's kind of about it. You can go back to do the cemeteries. You can do what you've always done, and I've done everything in my powers to bring it back as far as I can. But the only real difference is that we have to have that permit on us. I doubt they'll ever ask you for it, but you never know. I'll be the first one. So that's all I have. Any questions that I can answer?
Does any of this pertain to if we have a tour and the people want to see something in the cemetery? We have to have this stuff?
No, only for the 5:30, the program.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, only if you're going to go in to do the program. I don't have any more information on the Tuesday night walks because I'm not involved in that, and they are looking hard at the thing I want to do in October. I don't have those done yet. So, but this one is. But if you've never seen one, you can take a look at it and go from there. Any other questions? Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so sorry for being late. You know me, I'm traveling and I don't know what my schedule is, but whatever the alternate schedule is, or if anybody needs a break, or I could post something in the Facebook group when I'm coming up. So if anybody needs a break, I'm happy to fill in. But that's what I would do. I would always walk into the guide office and or the guide room and see where there were blanks. And if I was in town, that's when I would start filling in. But that's how I helped FUS in the past.
Right. And you certainly can help FIOC in the present. But the good thing is, Paul, for you, and I think Ralph, the same way, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, you can get on and sign up. I think one of the best things that I hear from my colleague Deb is the fact that, you know what, people, she used to go in and spend the first 40 minutes putting in everybody who called her with their requests. So you can get in there and play with it. And, we'll just get it done. That's all. Any other questions?
Thanks, Fran. I'm sure it was a wonderful effort as far as just getting the CUA put together. I know Fred's been going through it for the Tuesday night stuff, so appreciate you doing the work for it.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell all of you, and I sent a letter to the executive council and told them this process was hard, but it wasn't impossible. And people like Steve Sims, Christina Heiser, that's the new deputy, Chris Gwynn, the lady Pam Neal over at the permits department, and believe it or not, Matt Atkinson has been very helpful. And I'm politely and pleasantly surprised at what's going on. They are just like, well, we want you to do it. Well, we can't do this. We can't do that. And you know what? I get there's some things that they can't do, and it's okay, but they have been remarkably helpful. And the fact that Wayne is now going to take over the foundation in the end of the 24th, I told the council, I've never seen an opportunity for guiding to take a change that we have coming up to us. This is like the 100-year event that we could pivot out of this, because I think whatever the past history is, it's always going to be there. But this group was like, we're going to do it. We'll get it done. We're going to do it. We're going to get it done. And they answered emails, and I asked for some weird stuff, and they said, not this year. That's okay. That's fair. So I'm real proud of them. All I did was keep pushing the envelope to get the thing signed. That's all.
And did you approach the for the tour minimums for those who need the credit? Are they considering that?
I honestly, they're not keeping track this year, so I didn't do that. But I'm telling you, write down 2 hours like you used to do in the past. If you need them. So
do we make one of those receipts and give it to Matt?
I'm going to say no. I can't answer that, but I would keep a record of it, because you can always put those receipts together in a heartbeat to do that. But I don't think they're counting numbers this year, but I'll ask them.
Well, next year when they do it.
Yeah, I'm not privy to being on that group, but
Okay.
you get into some other stuff here. I'm not sure a lot of things that we are doing now are going to. I will tell you, Steve Sims will tell you straight out, he's going to follow the rules. He said the other guys that were in charge here were cutting corners, and he said, I'm just not going to do it. And I think that's why I have an SUP. I think that's why they're working with the guides on guide force on the Tuesday night walks. I just think they don't want somebody to come up and say, well, the guides don't have to do that. So I think that's why. So that's where we're going. And when we got through the standard outline for the cemetery tours, Matt and I both went, oh my God, could you imagine that? You know, or I said, I'll make you one cemetery tour and I'll just put names in, you know, John Doe, Jane Smith, and we'll by the way, but no, they are working with us.
When they started this, whatever year it was, that outline is what stopped me from giving these free walks.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't make an outline, not after guiding as long as I have.
Oh, yeah.
And it was free and it was a nice thing for the public and they still required that. So I said, the heck with it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad your common one
yeah.
worked.
He said, how big are you going to make it? It can't be just like, I start the tour, I end the tour, I go, I'll put some stuff in it. So I just had, I'm just saying, I think it's not so much for us, but I think if somebody else wants to do a cemetery tour, a person who's not a guide, they're going to say, we need to see your outline. It has to be approved. This is running through because this is an educational component. And I think in there it says, this is in the mission of the park to educate the public. So that's kind of how we looked at it. But that, I looked at that common outline and going, no, I don't have to put anything in there about aircraft carriers for Paul. I think we're good. He can work it in if he needs to. So,
Hey,
all right.
So you said kind of a buzzword there. You said education.
Right.
So, and the reason that's kind of a buzzword for me is for the guides and Chris and for the guides who support the Foundation Leadership Program, they were getting pushback from the Park Service because the Park Service educates and the leadership is supposed to just talk leadership things. And so when some people were hearing about me interpreting the Council of War, it was like, whoa, wait a second, you're educating. And I'm like, no, this is a meeting. I'm telling people how to run a meeting. You know, so yeah, it becomes yeah. So
Well, I know they marked. You can read the permit, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in there it says like meets the educational mission of the Park Service or something. That's okay. You know, they're just trying to differentiate. He's following the rules, and I think this is.
And I give a lot of credit to the permit people because remember the permit people are the ones who get the daily permit requests from the Klan and from other organizations that want to protest, and they have to follow the letter of the law. So enforcing it for us actually would prevent somebody from doing something really stupid on the battlefield, which would just cause more to it.
Can I steal that? Because I've been trying to tell people that all the time. That my gut feeling with Steve is he wants to get everybody in line and then he can start enforcing a little bit. I don't know. That's my gut feeling. So.
Well, it would be nice if it, you know, if it leads to the enforcement of, you know, going after unlicensed guides.